Hey guys, it's Maymay. And the other day I was on Pinterest looking at mason jar crafts and I saw something so cute and I was like, I totally think I can make that into a card. Check this out. This is my stamp set called Jar of Fun, and this is the Scarecrow that I created using it. And this is totally Pinterest inspired. I know you've seen these Scarecrow mason jars made and I thought this would be so fun to do. So we're going to do it today. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is load my Misty. Now you will notice that this is not the mini Misty that I'm using today. This is actually the original Misty. And so many of you asked us to get the original in the store that we did. And I kept one for myself because if you remember my review, I really wanted one and then gave it away. So I have kept one for myself and I'm glad I did. I don't know that I need this over my mini for what I mean, certainly what I'm doing here. I don't need it more than that. But my thing is I've got it now, so I want to try to use it. So here we go. All right, so I have the jar over here and I've got that ready to go to be inked up. And I'm going to use my VersaFine Onyx Black, my favorite black ink, and ink this guy up. And then I'm going to show you something else I'm going to do. So getting him good and inked, but I don't want this little line inside the jar. And I showed you this when I first designed this set. You can just take a wet wipe and just wipe that away. And then you won't have that jar in your stamp when you stamp it, or you won't have that like line that makes it look like a jar in your stamp when you stamp it down. Because if you do leave that in there, he looks like he's frowning. I found out from experience. So I just clean that out and then stamp our jar over. Cute, huh? Love it. All right, while we've got this out, I'm going to do some more stamping. There's our jar. I need to stamp the jar lid. So I'm going to do it down here. So this is the lid, and I'm just stamping him in black. I know it's not really going to be seen, but I'm really only stamping him as a pattern for me to cut it out on this brown. So I'm not worried about not being able to see it. Now in real life, you can see it if you look for it. You can see the little black line on the lid of his hat, but I'm just going to do it this way and not stress. You could emboss this if you wanted to on this dark color. I just think it's going to be fine just like that. Then we need to do his straw for his hat, which is actually the ruffle from the stamp set. So another scrap of paper. That's another cool thing. You can really get into your scrap drawer on this one. I'll put my little ruffle down here. Pick it up so I can stamp it. Use that Onyx Black ink again. And flip it over. So I've got my ruffle, got my jar and my lid. While I've got the Misty out, I think I'm going to do a little bit more stamping. This is the background page, and I'll show you which one it is. This is the page behind the Scarecrow, so this is my matte piece. And notice I stamped directly onto the matte piece. I think that looks kind of cool. And I'm going to put this piece into the Misty and then stamp it while it's here so I can lay those words out just where I want them. Now, I went kind of high in this corner, but I'm going to go something like this. And I'm just leaving myself some room to do some stitch lines around the edge. That's really the only thing I want to add up there. And I'm going to put in the word neighbor, but I'm going to do them separate. I'm going to stamp this one first and then the word neighbor under it. So pick that up. Ink it really well. And then stamp it down. Good deal. Now I'm just going to make sure this is in the corner. I'm going to clean this one off, put it away, and bring my other stamp over. And I don't think I showed you what stamp set this stamp was from. This is from the one that's called Just to Say Hello. I had to look to see what it was called. But this one has all kinds of little sentiments on it. But for mine, I use the word neighbor. And the reason is, this is the time of year we kind of give our neighbors treats and things like that. And I thought this might be a cute card to put on maybe a basket or something that I might give a neighbor for a fall greeting. I know it's not fall yet. It's too hot, but it's coming. We have football playing now, so we are going to a football game tonight, so it feels like fall anyway. So look, howdy neighbor, super cute, ready to go. Now let's assemble him. Now I actually fussy cut this guy out myself, but I could easily do this with my brother's scan and cut. You could find an image like this in your cutting machine software and be able to make the same kind of card just by changing the color. That's really what does it, is the colors of the jar, with his face being kind of this orange color or kind of a straw color. And then the other pieces, you just want to color them like they would be for his hat and his hair and things like that. And you'll be able to make a Scarecrow out of any old jar shape. You could also just look on the computer and search jar coloring page or something like that and get a pattern that you could just trace and cut out, that would be super cool too. So I did something a little different on this ruffle. At first, I cut it out and I flipped it over and turned the stamp portion to the back. I was going to slice this with my my shears that make the fringe, but the problem was they were too thick for me to do that with, and they would kind of mess up my ruffle. So I just decided to cut this out. And then I thought, how will it look if I let the ruffle be at the front? Well, I thought it looked really cute and it looked like straw. So instead of slicing into this piece to make it look like straw, I'm going to leave those little ruffles facing out. What I did a little different was I left this little strip at the top for me to glue it to the jar lid and make that easy to do. Now the only kind of hand cutting you have to do is his nose. Now you may have a triangle punch of some sort that you could do this with, but I just cut his little nose from a piece of paper and just kind of freehanded it. That's one thing I love about scarecrows. You can freehand them with anything because scarecrows are just put together with all kinds of products and things you have. All right, so here he is. Let's assemble this portion first. So I'm going to take some glue and put it on that little piece that I left behind, like so, and put the lid to it, something like that, and then that's going to go on top. And I like to go ahead and put this part on first. That way I can know where to put my nose. So I've got his hair, the hat, and now we can do his face. I'm going to go ahead and glue down his nose. That's going to be kind of my guide for where everything else goes. So I'm just going to take his little nose and just put it somewhere in this area, just like that. Love it. That nose is different than my last one, but I like it. Then from that same jar stamp set, we're going to use the little bean or jelly bean little image that's in that set for his eyes. And what I did was I took the little jelly bean, and on one side I stamped it just like this. I'll let you see when I move my hand. It'll make more sense for you to see it. See that? Then on the other side of his nose, I basically do the same thing, just the other side. We kind of cradle his little nose. It doesn't look cute now, but it will when you finish with all of your little extra added touches. So now what I'm going to do with these little guys is color them in black marker. And you could do this with a Sharpie, with a Spectrum Noir, anything you got. You could even use a pen if you don't have it. And you could cut these little shapes out just with some scrap. Just cut out the shape of kind of a bean or even an oval or a circle. You can do anything you want. It's a scarecrow. It's hard to mess him up. So there are his eyes done. Now that I did with a marker. The rest I'm going to do with one of these pens. This is a Uniball Signo Black. And I'm also going to use my white one, but I really like this black one for this. And here's what I did. I went to the nose and I start on the orange and off, and I just drag it to make it look like stitches onto the face, like that. Then I do the bottom. Start on the orange onto the jar. Just let it kind of drop down. And it just makes these little stitches. And basically just drawing on both pieces at the same time. So now his nose is all stitched down. I'm also going to do a mouth. Now I just freehand my mouth. I just kind of do like this, and then I just do stitches. And I like for his mouth to kind of drop and come back up. It's imagine a W. That's kind of what I do. I just imagine a W in my head, so he looks like that. And now we can work with the white. I like to put a line here and then 2 dots to look like a reflection, a line and 2 dots. And then I also gave him a little oval-shaped eyeball on both eyes, all using the little pen and just freehanding it, not looking for perfection. Then I stitched the brown because I thought it needed something. It was a little too dark up there. So I took the white and stitched the hat. And now back to the black. I could have done this a while ago, but I also stitched around his little jar. So there's that. Then, if you want to, you don't have to do this. I took this white again, and because I wanted to be kind of like glass, I did a little line on a curve and then 2 dots after it. And then down here I did the same thing, a little line on a curve and then 2 dots after it with the white. Just to kind of give it the feel of glass. Let me bring that up to you so you can see that. See those little white lines? It just added something to him. So there's our Scarecrow almost done. Now back to some scrap pieces and some punches. You know I had to bring out punches, right? This is my Martha Stewart branch punch. It is literally probably my favorite punch for this time of year. And I'm going to punch out 2 of these in kind of a straw colored cardstock. It's actually the same that I use for the ruffle of his hat, or the straw part of his hat. So I'm punch out 2 of those. And then I have this little fall leaf punch. And I'm going to punch out an orange one and also a green one. There's the orange. See how you can really dig into your scraps for this guy? He's fun. Now what I did was I put a dot of glue here. Kind of a line of glue, we'll say. Just kind of a dash of glue. And I put 1 piece of the branch punch into the glue. And then the other piece. And then on the back of my little leaves, I put a little foam square. I want them to have a little bit of dimension. So I did that there, and just peel that backer off. By the way, I know you've been looking, but these are back in stock. So if you're interested in one of these pokey tools, grab them now. We sell them and then the manufacturer runs out and we have to wait for them to get them back. So grab some while we got them. I love this guy. All right. So there we go. And I just kind of crossed those over each other. I thought that was kind of cute to put some color up there. Now, he's pretty much ready for the front of our card. I'm going to go ahead and put some foam squares on the back of him as well. And I'm just going to use these guys just like this. So there he is all ready for the front of our card. So let's put our card together. So I used this kind of craft colored or brown tan paper, and I just cut an A2 card base. This one is 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. So that'll give me an A2 card base. And then I'm gonna fold this guy over and crease it down. And I'm gonna bring back over that piece we already stamped. Remember, we stamped it earlier, so it is ready to glue down to our card front. So there's that, and he's ready for our Scarecrow now. Just a reminder, I'm going to put a supply list in the description below so that you guys will know where to find the supplies I used today. I've been trying to do that. I hope it's helping you guys out. And look how cute he is on there. Oh my goodness, I think it's adorable. But we're not done. I still have to do some stitching. You know I can never leave enough alone. So I'm going to stitch down the side, and I'm just using my pen today. I do have a stamp set that has a stitch line, and you could certainly use that. But I'm just going to use this pen and go around and do my stitching. So there he is, guys. That's our little Scarecrow from the Jar Fun stamp set. I think he's adorable. I hope you guys give him a try. And if you do, please share photos of him over on our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I. I actually want to challenge you guys to make this with your stamp set and post it over there on the page. I cannot wait to see what you do different with faces and with decoration and all that good stuff. And here's part of your challenge. Name your Scarecrow. When you put it up, I want to see what his name is. Now, these guys don't have a name, so in the comments, give me names for these guys. We need 2 names, this one and this one. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.